Because sometimes you open the bidding and there's an overcall on your left, and this passes back around you, and that would create a reopening type situation. So that's what our focus is going to be today. And you know, one of the reasons that reopening the bidding, there are many good reasons to do it, but remember that so many of our doubles end up being conventional that it becomes a responsibility of your partner sometimes to
telling me you have to call me now.
reopen the bidding with a double.
Okay.
So, you know, if I open a heart and there's a 2 club overcall, well, responder, if you don't have spades, you might actually have a hand that's problematic to bid, right? Because your double there would be negative, and you would be implying spades. So what this means is to solve some of the problems that could come up in an auction, including penalty situations. We end up wanting the opening bidder to take some kind of action. So, but we're going to start with some basic balancing doubles. And if you double in the pass-out seat, this could be a few different hand types. So it might be that you are an unpassed hand. That's our UPH here. Unpassed hand.
Hello, Frank? Yes.
With a wide range of strength. Remember that our takeout doubles are unlimited, and we could just have a regular old takeout double in the pass-out seat, right?
Okay. Well, I'll be back to class. I'll see you in a little while.
So we might have an auction like this.
Okay, great. Okay.
Dealer opens a club, pass, and
Bye.
now here you are in the pass-out seat, and you haven't had a chance to bid yet, and you double. This can be very wide-ranging, right? We talked a couple of weeks ago in our takeout doubles session about how you might be a little on the light side to do this, right? If you have the right shape, you might only have like 9 points. But if you had a singleton club and you were 4-4-4 in the other suits, you could make a light takeout double, right? Or it could be a little better. It could be a full opening hand. Or it could be unlimited. I mean, you might have 20 over there for all we know. So that one is very wide-ranging. And so when your partner who passed responds to that double, you're going to treat that like any other takeout double, right? Where if you bid at the minimal level, you're very weak, right? Probably no more than 8. If you jump a level, you're usually showing like 8 to 11, right? And then, it would be pretty rare that you would, in this situation, that you would say jump all the way to game, right? Something you might do had partner doubled in direct seat and you're over here, but you want to give partner a little room for having made a double a little bit on the light side, right? So that's one possibility. And then we have this situation that we might specifically refer to as a reopening. Double. And that would be an auction like this. So this is by opener. So you open the bidding 1 club, you get a 1 spade overcall on your left, and this comes back around, and now having opened the bidding, you can decide whether or not this auction goes on or not, or whether we stop at 1 spade, right? What we typically expect this reopening double to look like here, it should probably look a lot like a takeout of 1 spade, right? It just so happens that you've already opened a club, so we know that's one of your suits. And on an auction like this, I think we can expect the club to be a real suit, at least 4, if not 5. How would we know that? What do we think is the defining criteria of this double? What if we said one thing about opener's hand?
It's hard.
Any other suggestions? About shape, about the shape of opener's hand.
With short spades.
Shortened spades, probably, right? Because if this hand had some length in spades, it would probably not be the right hand for a reopening double. Or if they had a good hand with an honor or two in spades, they might now bid no trump, right? If they were balanced. So this reopening double suggests shortness in spades and probably the ability to play anywhere, right? Probably some kind of support for diamonds and hearts. If you just had a long club suit, you might not reopen with a double. You would probably just rebid your clubs if you had 6 or more, right? Now, you could have a very strong hand and want to start with double and see what partner says, and then maybe you have a plan for the next round of bidding after that. If you had a really good hand, like what if you had, well, maybe something like this. So what if I give you an opening hand like this? Where there's 17 high card points with a 6-card club suit? Now, there are different ways that you could go about bidding this hand. Your opening bid is pretty obvious. You're going to open a club, right? No trump strength, but the wrong shape. So they overcall spade, and this comes back around. I mean, you could rebid 2 clubs, but you would do that with a much weaker hand with 6 clubs, right? This is a very good hand. You could, in theory, bid 2 hearts, which would be a reverse, although it would be a non-forcing reverse because your partner never responded, right? So that's a possibility. A partner would take you for 5 or more clubs in a 4-card heart suit, so it would be useful in getting your shape across. On the other hand, partner didn't make a negative double, right? So does partner have hearts? So if partner does have hearts, then she's got a very weak hand because she didn't make a negative double, right? So, how do you want to deal with this? Well, I mean, you could reopen with a double, but then if partner bids 2 diamonds, are you going to sit for that with king X of diamonds? Yeah, you probably want to have a plan, right? So you might go, if you were to double, just in case partner had hearts and a weaker hand, double would give you a chance to stop at 2 hearts. And then if partner doesn't oblige you by bidding 2 hearts, you're probably worth a 3 club bid all on your own with that hand. So, if you have a very strong hand, you can start with a balancing double, maybe without the perfect shape for it, if you have some place to go. But there are some possibilities. But what do all of those hands have in common? You're probably short in the opponent's suit. So that's the most important part of your takeout double criteria, is shortness in the opponent's suit, and that would also be the most important criterion for the reopening double as well.
I was writing, and I started thinking.
Now this third option is your pass-out seat double could be by a hand that previously passed. Maybe you and your partner both pass. And you do this to compete. And now this is the true match point balancing type situation. So this kind of option. You can see that down there on the bottom, right? So your right hand opponent opened a heart, and you didn't have enough to double, so you passed. And And then your left-hand opponent bid 2 hearts, and your partner passed. But now the opener passed. And this comes back around you. You should be loath to sell out to 2 hearts here. And if you can find any excuse to balance, you should. Now, we want you looking at all the factors. We want you looking at the vulnerability. And I wouldn't balance with too weak of a hand if we were at unfavorable vulnerability. And remember, you don't necessarily have to balance with double. You might actually have a suit to bid. Like you might be able to bid 2 spades if you had 5 or 6 spades and you chose not to overcall the first time. But why is it safe? And it's safer to get in these situations when they have found a fit. Because if the opponents have a fit, you have a fit. They have an 8-card fit somewhere, you have an 8-card fit somewhere, right? And responder is limited, right? We know that hand is 6 to 9. When they open 1 heart, that could be a big hand, right? Initially. This hand is only limited by the fact that they failed to open 2 clubs. But beyond that, it could be a very nice hand. So maybe we don't want to get in right away until we get a better picture of what's going on. But when this hand becomes limited, and then opener doesn't even make a game try, well, okay, that's a minimum opening hand, and that's just a simple raise, right? So we should have half the deck. The high card points in this deck should be pretty close to split 20-20, give or take a point or 2, by virtue of the fact that they're not making a game try. And, might have been totally reasonable that neither partner nor us, had a chance to get in sooner. But we do want to strain to balance here, one way or another, because lots of good things can happen. And I would say there are 3 primary reasons to balance. Number 1, the hand actually belongs to you. You might actually have a majority of the high card points, the so-called balance of power. Is it okay to erase this stuff, by the way? Because I can't. I remember everything that was on the handout. Because I'll put these 3 reasons up here. Okay, these are reasons to balance. So this might be your hand. Either a part score or sometimes a game. We don't expect to have a lot of game hands when the opponent's open to bidding, but we might. Not out of the picture. Especially when a lot of people are in the habit of opening pretty light and responding pretty light. Have any of you ever played against any precision players? Systemically, precision players have the ability to take very light action by agreement. All of their suit openings, 1 club is their strong opening, and then all of their suit openings are limited. So 1 diamond, 1 heart, 1 spade are never more than 16 points if you play the precision system. It's actually probably the greatest benefit of the system. I played it for a long time with a couple partners. And so it's really nice to know If partner opens a diamond, well, they can't have 19 or 20, right? So, if you're a responder, you're like, well, should I respond light? I'd hate to pass, and partner has that really good hand that couldn't quite open 2 clubs. So, precision players have the luxury of making a forcing opening with much less of a hand. And along with that, you will find that precision pairs respond to suit openings very light. Especially if they think it's your hand and they think they can jam up the bidding, because they know partner's not going to hang them, right? What if you pick up, that 5 count and partner opens? Maybe partner opens a minor and you've got both majors. You got 5 points. Like, should I stretch a response here? Well, if you decide not to respond a little light, what would prevent you from doing that? Well, partner might come back and jump to 2-0, or jump to 3 of the suit they opened, right? And you don't have a good fit there, right? So those are the dangers you take on. Precision players don't have that danger because their partner can't have that hand that would want to go jumping around. Oh, you gave me a response. Now I'm going to get excited. So there's a lot of safety. So you'll see precision players a lot of time, like after a diamond opening, they might respond to heart with 3 or 4 points. They will do that routinely. And there's a lot of merit to it because they might keep you out of the auction and it's your game hand, right?
Why isn't precision more popular than it is then?
It is extremely popular, just not in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Other parts of the world, it's the standard system. So.
Interesting.
Too much to memorize, right?
Yeah, it's a very good system. I like playing it. It has a lot of merit. It's just there are drawbacks to it too. You're gaining something and you're giving something up, just like with any system. And you also have probably heard me say, if there were one perfect system, everybody would be playing the same system. If you weren't weighing pros and cons of different systems and different bidding conventions, we'd all be doing the exact same thing, right? So, but it might be your hand. So sometimes you balance not just to compete or give the opponents a push, but sometimes you do want to compete for a part score, and I will add to that even if it goes set. This is sort of the essence of match points right here. And this is, what Mike Lawrence refers to when he talks about, good match points is maybe bad bridge, especially if you played rubber bridge. If you got used to playing rubber bridge before you ever tried out duplicate, we do things in duplicate that rubber bridge players would probably think were absolutely nuts. It's not to your benefit very often to balance if you're playing rubber bridge, but it's part of the proceedings at match points. Think about that. Deliberately bid, deliberately get into an auction that may not be our hand, knowing that we'll probably go set a trick. But we do this because we have a very good chance to get a better match point result than if we let them play 2 hearts. And then, of course, the other part of that is, even if we don't get to play our part score, whether it makes or goes set, sometimes the opponents bid on, right? All right, they want to play 2 hearts. We're not going to let them play a comfortable 2 hearts. Okay, well, now they bid 3 hearts. Okay, well, if we let them play 2 hearts and it was always making 3, and they play 3 hearts making 3, they gain no benefits score-wise, right? 2 hearts making 3 and 3 hearts making 3 is the same 140. So it didn't hurt us to give them a push. But if 2 hearts was making and 3 hearts is going down, we just turned our minus score into a plus score defending 3 hearts, didn't we? So that's kind of the essence of why we do what we do at match points. why we are aggressive in situations like this. And then this is the one that you may not be used to.
It's filled with people.
And this applies mainly to that reopening double. Partner might have what we would refer to as a penalty pass. Does the concept penalty pass make sense?
Mm-hmm.
This is where you have that hand that, like, okay, partner opens a spade and they overcall 2 clubs. And you've got a decent hand, not a real weak hand, but more importantly, a big stack of clubs. And you know they are not in a good spot. You'd like to be able to double for penalty, maybe, even at a low level, even if all they did was overcall 2 clubs. Maybe they made a skimpy overcall and they're vulnerable. Or maybe they actually have their overcall. Maybe their bid is reasonable, but they happen to catch a terrible lie of the cards and you're sitting there with 6 clubs. And this is just going to be really ugly. It's just a misfit for you. Well, how do you do that? Well, we said you can't double directly because that would be a negative double, right? And partner is going to pull the negative double. Partner isn't going to leave the negative double in. It can't be a negative double and a penalty double all at the same time, right? I mean, yeah, you'd like to double and give partner a swift kick under the table and see if they pass. Say, not negative this time, but that wouldn't be a very ethical thing to do. So how do we get to penalizing on those maybe somewhat rare occasions where we actually want to penalize? Denise will probably remember a hand that we played in Loveland not too long ago. Not a totally uncommon result, where I had a 1 heart opening on my right, and I overcalled 2 clubs, and I had my bid, because my 2 level overcalls are sound. It was not a bad suit. It was ace, king, 6. And a singleton on the side somewhere. And it went pass, pass, reopen with a double. And this passed out. I went down 500 in 2 clubs. My left-hand opponent had queen, jack, 10, 5th of clubs. And another card or 2 in there, a little more defense than just the clubs. They did not necessarily have a great place to play, and so they were happy to defend. So this can be very profitable for you if you can get the penalty in. But you have to get the penalty in by way of a reopening double. Because the person who wants to penalize can't make the double themselves. But what you can do is bank on partner to hopefully reopen with a double so that you can sit for it.
Can you put an example situation there?
We'll be getting into a bunch of examples here.
Okay.
So let's look at, let's start off with more of just a standard balancing double. And we will get into the reopening double here in a little bit. But let's start with just some more straightforward balancing doubles. So we talked about how the strength of that could vary quite a bit, right? Back to this auction here. That can be a very wide-ranging double. But the criteria to make that double are going to be about the same. You typically are short in clubs on that auction, right? Support for the other suits, just like your standard takeout double. And it may be just that. It may be a very standard, ordinary takeout double that you have. So you have enough high card strength to act, but we said you could be a little lighter here than if you made the double over here, right? Remember, balancing, you can always be lighter than in that direct suit. You could be maybe a king or queen less. All right. You also probably don't have a long suit of your own. Otherwise, instead of double, you might choose an overcall, right? And sometimes you might have a choice. Sometimes your hand would meet the criteria for, well, I could make a takeout double, or I could overcall my suit. In those situations, if I'm having that internal debate, I would typically look at suit quality, right? I have 5 spades. Yeah, but they're 5 spades to the 9. And I can support all the other suits. Should I make a takeout double? Or should I just bid a spade over there in the balancing seat with my 5 spades to the 9 so the partner knows I have 5 of them, right? Because the takeout double, most of the time, you won't have a 5-card suit. So sometimes you have a decision to make. The argument against balancing with a bad suit is that if partner ends up, if they end up getting the contract, partner's probably going to lead your bad suit unless they have a clear-cut better lead of their own, right? So that would be a possible danger. But you may very much have a reasonable decision. Is it an overcall or is it a double?
I don't think so.
There's one other thing to remember also. That if you choose double, don't have the hand that could balance one no trump. Do we know what one no in the pass-out seat is? Because remember, it's not the same as an opening no trump. It's lighter.
11 of 50.
Now, this is going to vary a little bit by partnership agreement. Usually, the balancing no trump is going to be give or take in that 11 to 14-ish kind of range. You may start it as low as a good 10. You may go up even to about 15 here on the upper end. Some people even play a wider range. I actually play with some partners that my balancing no trump is a good 10 to 16. Now you might say, how can you get away with playing such a wide range? Because normally you don't want to have that wide of a range on your no trump, right? Too hard for partner to figure out what to do. Well, we have a gadget that we play with it. It's called a range statement. We're not covering it today. It's very useful if you want your range to be that wide. But you are certainly safe with 11 to a good 14, maybe 15 on your balancing no trump. And the reason that our balancing no trump isn't a full strength no trump is, if you remember, we've looked at some of these hands where like maybe partner actually had some cards over here, but they didn't have a bid over one club. Partner might even have, sometimes partner even has an opening hand that they were going to open one club, and now they're 12 or 13 count. What do? Wrong shape for double, not strong enough to overcall a no trump in direct seat, and then they're stuck with pass. Well, that's one of the reasons that we want to put a little more burden on you when you're in that pass out seat to take some action, because you are protecting your partner with a light balancing no trump. And remember that when you balance with a no trump, you do have a card in their suit, right? You've got a club stopper. So that part of the no trump is the same. But what you are really doing here is you're alleviating some pressure that may have built up when your partner has some cards but doesn't have a bid. And it is always safer to act in the balancing seat and kind of help cover your partner than it is for partner to do the wrong thing in direct seat and either overstate their values or show you the wrong, or like say make a double with the wrong shape or something like that. The way, if any of you know Spencer Jones, he likes to describe it as you're borrowing a king. Pretend that you have borrowed a king from your partner. Add it to what's in your hand and make your normal bid. I think that's kind of a nice way to think of it. And what we end up doing is accounting for the same values. It's just that, you know, partner is passing with a little more and you are bidding with a little less. A lot of this, yeah, this is a lot of I think the nuance that really, you gotta play a lot of hands and hopefully work in some regular partnerships to develop this and get completely comfortable with it. You know, it's what I sometimes call, you know, orchestrated overbidding, right? It's okay for one of you to overbid and the other to underbid. But we don't want to both overbid on the same hand or both underbid on the same hand, right? Otherwise we miss games or we get into trouble.
In that position, did you just say with no trump, you get a little bit of cushion there too, if it's reopening or not?
With, so on, like what kind of auction?
In the balancing seat.
In the balancing seat? Yeah, I mean, you know, you can, you know, whether no trump is the better description of your hand, or double is the best choice, or overcall, any of those actions, you know, you can be a little bit light. As long as partner remembers what's going on, you know, when you balance with a no trump, you know, hopefully partner remembers, oh, we've agreed, we're doing the standard, this is like 11 to 14, so we don't want partner getting too excited, thinking, oh, you got 15 to 17. Now, of course, what comes with that balancing no trump, remember, is that when you have the bigger balanced hand, you have to start with double, and then when partner bids a suit, you now have to correct that to the cheapest no trump. And that's how you show the bigger balanced.
Say that again.
So, since your balancing range on your no trump is like 11 to 14, what do you do when you pick up the balance 16 with the club stopper? The hand that you would have opened one no, that you can no longer bid one no because you're in the balancing position, right? So the answer to that is that you double, and then when partner bids the expected suit in response to your double, now you have to fix that by correcting the no trump. And we can have some auctions where you might have to make the correction at the 2 level, right? That's less than ideal. But, you know, what if the opponents open a major or open a diamond and partner responds to your balancing double with 2 clubs? Well, now if you want to show your bigger balanced hand, you're going to have to bid 2 no, because 1 no is no longer available. That's not ideal, but that's how you show the hand. So. And by the way, if that stuff comes up, the other thing that you want to figure out with partner is do we play our systems on? I think it's probably easiest, just for the sake of consistency, to probably just play all your normal systems, just like you would over a direct seat overcall, right? So if partner balances with a no trump, I would still have 2 clubs be Stayman, have 2 diamonds be your transfer to hearts, hearts be your transfer to spades, just to keep everything consistent.
So are you saying if it goes 1 club, pass, 1 no trump, systems on?
Systems on, yeah.
Well, and the second one
Not
also.
this, no, not in this.
Not on the second one?
Not here. This is different, because you've doubled and bid no trump. So we're talking about like this auction here, where we get the direct bid.
Okay.
So now have all of your stuff beyond the bid, right? All of these your normal conventional responses to 1 no with Stayman and transfers. I mean, it may not be perfect, and you know, yes, we are protecting a hand. We're making hand declare that it's not necessarily, not like our regular no trump where one hand is almost always stronger than the other. Sometimes your hand and partner's hand are more equivalent on this auction, but you know, I think it's just easiest to remember what we're doing if we just keep everything consistent.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Yeah, I don't see a compelling reason not to just have our systems on here. A long time ago, I used to play, play systems not on here, and I was like, nah, I should just play systems on. It's easier. It's easier for all of us. So let's look at a few hands here. And let's actually just start off with the same auction and have the opponents open a heart and have this come around to you in the pass outs. So let's just give you a few different hands here and find out what would you do. A heart pass pass. You have 11 high card points, right? Is everybody okay with double here? Now, is this a hand that you would have opened if you were the dealer? Probably not. Normally, we would just pass our flat 11 counts. But is it good enough to act now? Yeah, I think so, because you have the right shape. It's certainly good enough to try and compete for a part score. Every now and then, maybe we end up regretting the double because something happens like we double and then the opening bidder immediately jumps to 4 hearts.
Well,
Do they have enough to make 4 hearts on their own? They didn't get a response from their partner. Maybe it makes, maybe it doesn't. So, something like that is going to happen, but I wouldn't let that prevent you from balancing. There are some situations where I would be very careful about balancing, where I feel like maybe the opponents aren't in a good spot, and I don't want to take them off the hook, but totally normal there, right? All right, well, let's change it. What if I give you this hand with king and 1 spade and 5 hearts to the jack, and king and 1 diamond, and queen jack 4th of clubs.
You're not short in hearts.
All right, you're not short in hearts, so that immediately makes double unattractive, right? Can you see any other call that makes a lot of sense with that hand?
one down.
A very thin balancing no trump? I don't like it. I don't think we're quite there. Even if my partnership has agreed that we might do this with a good 10, I don't think I would qualify this 10 with good. I don't think that's the most descriptive adjective. It's kind of a soft 10, isn't it? I think I would just let this go. And I would look at not just my vulnerability, but I would look at the opponent's vulnerability. What if they are vulnerable? What if we reopen this auction and they find a diamond fit or they find a spade fit? That's probably a better spot for them than hearts, right? There's no guarantee that 1 heart is a great place for them to play. I'm not saying you're going to beat 1 heart. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Depends just how weak the dummy is and if partner has a couple of cards, and there are a lot of variables. But if you feel like they may not be in a great contract, then I would not balance marginally. I would not speculate with my balance. It's okay to go quietly sometimes. And every now and then I hear players say, well, we can't just let them play at the 1 level. I think I heard somebody say that at another table while I was playing today. I was like, oh, yes, we can. It's okay. You are not compelled to bid just because the opponents are about to stop at the 1 level. If you don't think they're in a great contract, just let it go. So I think that's what I would do here. Just let them play 1 heart. Because if we get in, we may get in trouble. And even if they make their 1 heart, maybe they had a better place to be. All right, what about this? Again, 1 heart comes around to you. You have a full opener this time. 13 actual real high card points. Your shape is 5, 2, 3, 3. Any votes?
Spade.
Most everyone seems to like a spade. Does anybody like double here?
It might push 1 hearts up.
Well, I mean,
Not-
remember,
not
if you double
if
part,
you
if you
double-
double, partner's going to bid something,
Mhm.
probably. So while double isn't unreasonable, you do in fact have support for all unbid suits. I think it's more important to tell partner that you have a decent 5-card spades. So when you don't have a spade fit, yeah, we can find some hands where double would work better, like where partner has a 5-card minor and can't stand spades, right? So maybe if we balance with a double, on occasion we get ourselves to 2 clubs or 2 diamonds when that's the best contract. But I'm willing to give that up because I think it's probably more important to let partner know you've got a 5-card major. So I think I would balance with a spade, and who knows? You might get a second chance if partner doesn't end up raising spades. You might have a second chance to get to a better spot if there is a better spot. All right. Let's see. How about this one? Same auction. 1 heart coming all the way around to you.
Now you can say 1 no, yeah.
Okay, got to vote for 1 no. Does it meet the criteria of a balancing no trump?
Yeah. 6, 9.
But I don't have a diamond stopper.
They haven't been.
Wah. What's the best description of your hand? You're totally flat, right? You're 4, triple 3. And you've got values in their heart suit. You've got
And they
king,
haven't
jack,
been
9.
diamonds.
I think you would welcome a heart lead into that if they want to lead 4th best from their presumed
Sometimes
5-card
they
heart
are.
suit. And their partner is very weak, right? So it's not like this hand over here is going to get in often to be pushing hearts through your other honors, right? In fact, this person over here may not even have any hearts. They may have a singleton or a void, right? It doesn't look like the opponents have a heart fit because the opening bidder's got at least 5 and you have 4.
No, it isn't.
So, just like our no trump openings, if you've got the shape and you've got the count for your no trump range, so here you're in that 11 to 14 range, you've got 12, just bid a no trump.
And now
You-
systems are on, Kurt?
And systems would be on.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I didn't have exactly that question.
Yeah, and again, don't worry, you do not need an honor in every suit. You just want to make the most descriptive bid. If it turns out that they lead diamonds and partner doesn't give you any help in the diamond suit and they take some tricks there, it's not the end of the world. Comes with the territory.
So what if they bid 2 clubs? What's your answer?
If who bids 2 clubs?
Your partner after I did.
So you balance with a no trump? Okay, so 2 clubs is Stamen, right? Okay, so you make your normal Stamen response, which is 2 diamonds. I wouldn't bother showing you. Partner's clearly looking for a spade fit, right? We don't, even if we had a heart fit, we don't want to play there when we know we're getting 5 of them on our left, right? So if partner bids Stamen, they're looking for a spade fit. So, I mean, you could respond to Stamen with 2 hearts, but I don't think partner's going to want you to play there. I mean, theoretically, you do have a 4-card major, right? I just don't think it's going to accomplish much for you. So I mean, you could bid 2 hearts, or you could just bid 2 diamonds and deny a 4-card major. But yeah, that would be the bid. All right, how about something a little different? What if I give you a hand that looks like this?
You're gonna double and then bid diamonds?
Okay, can we start with double? Now, what do we expect partner to do when we double? A heart opening. Probably a bit of spade, right? Especially since we only have a doubleton spade. All right, but we have an answer for that? Can't we correct it? All right, so go back to our principles of takeout doubles from week 1.
Right.
If we're 18 plus with a good suit of our own, hopefully a 6-card suit, we can double and bid our own suit, right? So rather than just balance with 2 diamonds, because this is such a good hand, you can still double and bid your own suit and convey extra strength to partner. Now they're going to respond as if you have support for all the unbid suits. So, they're in the dark at this point. They have 4 spades, they're probably going to bid a spade. Because you've doubled a heart opening, and theoretically our aim is, let's see if we can find a fit in the other major. But when you now correct this to 2 diamonds, partner will know, oh, you got a good hand. And if partner, even with our good diamonds, what if partner were to bid clubs? That would be viable too, right? If partner were to bid clubs, we don't necessarily have to introduce the diamonds, because we've got a very good club raise, right?
What if partner bids 1 no trump?
1 no, that is a possibility. Partner might have a heart stopper and maybe 7 or 8 points.
Do you still mention the diamonds, or do you?
You could mention the diamonds, or you know what, if partner has a heart stopper, and so do you actually, right? Because you've got the ace, so you've got a double heart stopper. I think I would just shoot out 3 no.
3.
And figure, hey, partner could afford to lose the king of diamonds, but then the rest of the diamond suit's coming in. So maybe partner, takes, if this person's hearts are not that good and their values are somewhere else, they probably have the king of diamonds if it's not in partner's hand, right? All right, that's all right. Even if you have to lose a diamond, the rest of that suit will probably run. And if we have hearts double stopped, well, then we can afford to give up the lead in diamonds and then have the rest of our winners. So, and in fact, if that were the case, I don't think I would want to get too informative about the hand. I think I would probably shoot out 3 no. And I would say, our biggest problem on this hand may not be hearts, it may be spades. But now I don't necessarily want to have a real informative auction and let the opponents know that. Because if they show a heart stopper and then we show diamonds and they might find a spade lead when that's the best lead. So, yeah, I think I'd probably just blast out 3 no in that case. I do think I would want a companion heart stopper from partner. I don't think I would try to suggest no trump with just singleton ace, because that may not be good enough.
So you've got another quick.
Yeah, we need partner to have king or queen, or even 4 to the jack would probably work as a second stopper. Yeah, so still in play there. We can double and bid our own suit if we want. I think this is actually, we're close to midway, and this would be a good breaking point before we get into the true reopening double. Before we break and move into that, does anybody have any questions about this balancing seat? Yeah, just remember that while a balancing double may be just fine, be sure that you are weighing other options when there are other reasonable options. So think about a suit and think about a no trump as possibilities before you commit to double. So, all right, yeah, let's go ahead and take a break for a few minutes and come back with the